Thank you in advance to Urbe and the rest of the team in the space for allowing me to speak today. So let me just get the screen share here, and let me just confirm that everybody can see it okay. Can you see okay? Is this coming through? Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So hello, everyone. My name is Angelo. I'm the founder of Build Republic, and we are creating the infrastructure, basically a network for the next generation of startup ecosystems and startup cities around the world. So kind of the biggest, one of the bigger trends happening that we see is that over the next decade, we're going to see innovation, opportunity, and talent will be evenly distributed into tight-knit communities around the world. And the built environment will be really an extension of this reshuffling of talent and resources kind of around the world. So the resulting landscape will look like a digital first, real estate second manifestation of startup ecosystems and cities around the globe, at least in the tech sector, which is definitely something we're primarily focused on. So our mission within the context of these observations is we really want to unlock the hidden GDP in communities around the globe. There's a report, latest report from Startup Genome shows that the top 100 emerging startup ecosystems, so those are startup ecosystems outside of the top 30, represent a cumulative value of about $1 trillion, which marked a 96% increase from 2021 to 2022 alone. So the big takeaway there is that we're in an era today where the GDP of the internet, it doesn't have coordinates anymore. It doesn't have a latitude or longitude grid point, and new value can be created literally anywhere and invested into that local environment, whether it's a town of 1,000 people or a larger city like Rome or New York, Paris, or something like that. So, but there's still a big problem in that the equity is still trapped in would-be founders and ventures due to proximity, politics, or perception. We see resources consolidate into a handful of ecosystems, but now they cross borders on the internet with crypto. Passports limit our physical mobility to move around the world, but we really kind of teleport over Zoom. I'm, doing this presentation from New York area now. Perception and pedigree feeds bias, but Git repos, Dribble portfolios, our online portfolios show that merit is merit. So we really have everything we need to break these barriers down and create these startup ecosystems again in any city around the world. We look at kind of the magic that made Silicon Valley possible and think like, well, what if we could just distribute that through the internet and empower entrepreneurs where they are at rather than where they should be, rather than saying, hey, you have to go to Silicon Valley to make this work or this, that, or the other. They can build wherever they're at in the world. So what are we actually doing here? Like, how did Build kind of come about to get towards this vision, which we'll share in a little bit? It was quite simple. In the very beginning, we started with a logo. We put together a white paper to synthesize a lot of these concepts around community first, real estate and infrastructure second, secured it to a domain, and then finally just simply set up a Discord. So we had a lot. So that's how it kind of started about 1.5 years ago now. And today we actually have a whole blueprint ecosystem. It's in a city, in a place in northern Idaho, about 60,000 people. We have an 80,000 square foot innovation campus that serves as a center of gravity for innovation in the area. There's 2 times more startups per capita than the rest of the state. There's 2 9-figure startups, and we've even made legislative wins in some of the laws there that favor AI and robotics in the area. So the work of this has actually been kind of brewing the background for the last several years from one of our co-founders. But now we are nesting this into a protocol and a digital infrastructure so that we can scale the same process that we've done here in Coeur d'Alene to, again, any city in the world. And that's what's live today. So this is the public beta. You can access it now on desktop, buildcities.com. and you simply log in with Discord. You select your top 3 digital communities and then your top 3 physical cities, and then we overlay them. So you start to get basically a directory view of what networks are in your given city. So this works for existing cities and then potentially new ones altogether. We've had a lot of people coming in with just plots of land who want to start their own startup community or startup society in a given place, and we want to make that happen for them with this infrastructure. Just kind of just kind of briefly touch on some of the other things. So like here you can see this is what a city directory looks like. You see the network composition in the right-hand side. So if Ethereum or Urbe has a Discord, you'd be able to locate where everyone is at around the world. We then have a directory of the network itself. You can also, same way you can view cities, you can view the networks and who's part of them, what locations they're in. And then, you get a profile view, people show their NFTs. But the main kind of getting back to the core of the talk is, we're building this social infrastructure first to just kind of give people like geographic reference point on where their digital communities are at. But because we have that, and we do have people connect their wallets with that foundation, we essentially we're layering on this financial infrastructure layer to actually translate DAO capital to real world asset capital and start building, first small experiments in real estate. Eventually that becomes a little bit bigger. And then, on a city by city basis, we hope to be allowing people to cloud fund properties all around the world that kind of serve as like a center of gravity for more development down the line. So we've already done a couple of proof of concepts. We did a proof of concept crowdfund for residential solar units in Lagos, Nigeria. And this was based out of necessity, that they have a really unreliable electrical grid. And so these systems allowed them to be able to access the digital economy on a 24/7 basis. They got higher earning potential because they were able to contribute to more projects, and it was a win-win all around. More recently, we just did a proof of concept crowdfund with another DAO for 160 acres of revenue-generating farmland in Northeast Colorado. So we're going to keep rinsing and repeating these concepts where we essentially want to basically plug in people's community capital, crypto wallets, to being able to fund actual real world assets that they can then benefit from, in the protocol itself. We set each city and kind of spanning that out a little bit further, because everything is packaged at the city level, and the city being kind of the atomic, building block of this whole ecosystem. We basically have it set up in stages, where first it's just getting it on the map. Stage 2 is kind of like we'll have features to allow people to get in real life meetups and events. And then stage 3 is that whole financial infrastructure I was just talking about, where we are essentially each city essentially becomes its own DAO. So with the cities as the base unit, you can see the protocol kind of naturally decentralizes over time as more cities come online and mature to end up guiding and governing this network of networks. We actually just did a on-chain governance vote with all the 50 cities that we have to date to issue a new city chapter that goes on the map, and we're going to be continuing to do more of that, as we scale. So we have 50 city chapters in the protocol today, a pipeline of over 200 more requesting access. The one I mentioned earlier, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, now has the full stack of software, communities of service, real estate, and those are kind of the end results, where we're going to have that same full stack for cities, around the world. It's just a little bit about our team. We have a lot of experience in venture formation, scaling, community real estate development, government relations, and tech to kind of form the foundation for this. And just a little bit about our investors, and happy to talk with anybody about this at any time, you can see our Twitter at Build Cities. There's my email there, angelo@buildcities.com. And yeah, that's a little bit about what we're doing and how we view the ability to finance the next generation of startup ecosystems anywhere in the world from digitally native capital. This is you could call it that a little bit. We kind of view ourselves as really an infrastructure layer to facilitate any digital community who wants to kind of translate offline. So we want to support network states. We want to support startup cities, and we really just want to focus on that that physical crowdfunding piece, because there's just a lot of logistics that go into that make it there's a lot to be done there. So we want to service network states, we want to service startup cities, but yes, we're in that general market. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I think you could argue that we're kind of already living in one, right? Like, if you think about just like digital, there's some projects that are already working very closely with governments. There's one like RNS ID, which is the e-residency ID for the country of Palau, and they're allowing 1% quota of every country to be an e-resident of Palau. And there's no reason why they couldn't say that allows them to cast like a global net of potential residencies, and there's no reason why they couldn't say, okay, now you can be a citizen if you do X, Y, and Z. Estonia has the e-residency concept. You're seeing more and more of these kind of projects pop up, and national initiatives to do this. So I think you could argue that we're already living in a network country or network republic socially and culturally and all those things. When it comes to sovereignty, I think that's where the verdict is still out on what that could potentially look like. And I think we're just a little too early to see, to have a full conclusion on that piece yet.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know, Simone, if you want to comment or feedback something.
Yeah. I have just one question. Can you hear me right?
Yeah.
How does one new chapter get started? So it's like a bottom up from like local people, or it's like your team and the existing network pointing out cities?
It's all bottoms up based on demand and activity. So we have a little claim form for new cities. We've been talking, excuse me. We've been talking to Incandenza, for example, about getting Rome on the map, and what it'll be is just seeing the activity that comes through, and if there's enough demand, then we'll just go ahead and put it to a vote where all the other city NFT holders can vote on the issuance of that city, and then that'll get it on the map, and then all those different stages will be unlocked based on the rules that we're putting into the protocol. And those are rules that we're still developing and kind of evolving, but things like, okay, this city had a lot of meetups, here's all their projects, here's the number of people. The activity that we see kind of that's measurable, that will start to unlock more and more of the resources, such as the financing, and other things that we kind of have on our roadmap. So, but yes, it's all bottoms up.
Okay, someone in the audience wants to make comment, question? No? No. So thank you again, Angelo, for this talk, and I don't know, another applause to this great builder. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you so much. And the last question is, of course, we will see you in Rome in October, right?
Yes, it's on my my tour, my agenda for sure. Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you guys. See you next time.
Thank you again. Thanks.
Ciao. Buon Urbe Talks.
Yeah.